Welcome viewers to this session. This session, what we are trying to discuss is issues pertaining to working of overtime. So what I need to appreciate is to say there are two issues. We should be able to understand issues of overtime and also issues of the working hours, to say how many hours should an employee working within an organization as per required by law. And that, because when you have defined the number of hours that an employee is supposed to work, we're going to now define what hours is supposed to be overtime, or what will qualify an overtime. So we need to go to section 36 of the Employment Act in Malawi. You might find to say the working hours for each and every employee that is applicable is 48 hours. So an employee is supposed to work for 48 hours, and this is covered under section 36 of the Employment Act. So what it means is within the 48 hours, the employee is supposed to work like 8 hours a day. Yeah. So but this is not like everybody. There are also some people who can work beyond the 8 hours, like the guards, for example. So the guards can work up to 12 hours, because you can't expect, for example, a guard who has started his working around let's say 6 o'clock in the evening to knock off at 2 a.m. for example, but maybe has to knock off 6 a.m. So that's almost like 12 hours. So even the day guards, you might also have some guards who can work from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So in that regard, or the working hours for guards could be around 12. So I think the law provides to say they can work more than 48 hours, and except for gas. And I think that's what the law is talking about, provided the extra hours that have been worked, like the 4 hours extra, they have to be regarded as what? Overtime. So that's what the law is providing. So what we need to appreciate is that, and also at the same time, what we need to know is that with the 48 hours thing, it means an employee can work for 6 days a week and he has to rest the other day. So it means can work. So it doesn't define to say whether the 6 days could be like in Monday to Saturday. No, you can start working from Tuesday. You can say my rest day is is on Monday. Then the employees have to work from Tuesday to Sunday, depending on the nature of the business. Because there are certain businesses, for example, I'll give you issues like saloon, barber shops, eating places. You might find maybe bars. Yeah, they could be more busier during the weekend. So you might need to have more employees during the weekend compared to these other days. So you can allow some of the employees to rest during some of the days, but you cannot allow them to rest maybe over a weekend. So I think the law doesn't appreciate the weekend. I think that's what is very, very important. What the law appreciates is the off day, and also the public holiday. So off day could be Saturday, Sunday, whatever, but also you can be able to give yourself an off day to say this is an off day. But you can also be able to give an employee an off day which you have agreed with your employer to say, no, this is my off day, or this will be your off day. So you can allow your employees to choose maybe one of the days to be their off days. So it could be Thursday, could be Friday, could be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So it all depends on, because they have to be off, they have to rest somehow. So they can work for 6 days, but they have one off day if they are working for 8 hours a day. But so you can, but it also happens that some of them might be working like for 5 hours for 5 days a week. So what it means is maybe the ones who are working for 5 days a week and they are working like 8 hours, it implies that they are working for 40 hours. 8 times 5 is 40 hours. So if they're working for 40 hours, it implies that if you have agreed that they'll be working for 5 hours, it implies that the extra days, if they are working, it means it has to be overtime. Although the 40 hours is less than the required minimum that they are supposed, the maximum that they are supposed to work, which is 48 hours. But because you have agreed the 40 hours, it means the extra hours will be like overtime. So that's what also is very, very important for us to appreciate and be able to. So when you ask them to work for, like, say in the evening, beyond the normal working hours, that means it will be on overtime, regardless of, to say whatever the extra hours they have worked, they are less than 48 hours, which is the required normal working hours, because that's what you had agreed with the employees. And also so the contract is more important in that context, because the maximum, when you say the maximum is 48 hours, that's the minimum standards or the minimum conditions. So if you are providing anything better, like the 40 hours to the employees, then anything to the advantage of the employee is regarded as fine. So that's what is very, very important for us to appreciate. And also sometimes we might have like some shift workers, for example, who might be working like from 6 o'clock and not go for 2 p.m. and some can start at 2 p.m. and not go for 10 p.m. and some can start at 10 p.m. and not go for 6 a.m. So that's also another way of working, and they can be working for 8 hours a day, but at the end of the day, that's not overtime, because they're working within the normal working hours, unless they have worked beyond the 48 hours, or you have agreed that the working hours are 40 and they have worked beyond the 40 hours. So anything beyond the 48 hours should be regarded as overtime, or if they have agreed 40 hours, then anything above the 40 hours, it should be regarded as overtime. That's what Section 39 of the Employment Act is trying to advance. So that's what we need to appreciate. And also there are also moments whereby we need to appreciate, to saying there are moments whereby an employer might have some tasks to be done. For example, there's an emergency, there's an accident, for example, there's a pressure for work, for example, perishable things have to be handled and all that. The employer can still ask employees to work for overtime. And what we need to appreciate is to say the employee has not lied to deny or to refuse to work overtime, because the employer is trying to save the organization. So for the sake of organization progress, so that they shouldn't be affected in one way or another, can ask his or her employees to work for overtime. So the request should not be coming from the employees, but the request for overtime should be coming from the employer. So that's what is very, very important for us to also appreciate. And at the same time, what we need to know is that there is also an element of what we call compensatory rest. So the employer, it's not like every time that employees have worked beyond the normal working hours, they have to get overtime as payment, as we think, but they can also get what we call compensatory rest. That's also allowed within the Employment Act. So the compensatory rest is like, maybe you have asked your employees to work for, I'll give an example. You have asked your employees to work for beyond the 8 hours. You have asked them to work 3 hours more, for example. And also on another day, you ask also them to work for 3 hours more. So it implies that they have worked total of 6 hours. So if this is a normal working day, you might find that the 6 hours could be regarded as 9 hours, because it's 1.5 times the number of hours. Because when it's a normal day, the equivalent of overtime is 1.5 of our hourly rate. So you might find this 9 hours. So when it's 9 hours, what we need to appreciate also is to say, you can ask them to say, no, maybe because it's 9, you can have 1 day off or a rest day, so that that's now what we call the compulsory rest. So for example, they have worked this week with additional 9 hours. The other week, you can ask them not to come on 1 day of their choice. You can ask them, or even you can tell them to say on this day maybe you might not have to come. So that's the compulsory rest we are talking about, to cover for the extra or for the overtime hours that they had worked. So you're not willing to pay them, but you are asking them to be at home on that particular. So you may be the remaining 1 hour. You can also ask them on another day. Maybe they can come late, or you wait up until maybe the numbers have also come to 8 or more than 8. So that you can also ask them to give a compulsory day for them to rest, for example. So, and also I think what we need to appreciate is that there is an element of overtime under Section 39, which is very, very important for us to appreciate. And when you talk about overtime, there is in threefold. There is the ordinary overtime, the day off overtime, and also the holiday overtime. So we know about the day ordinary overtime. This is an overtime which has done on a normal ordinary working day, for example, from Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, if you are waking up to Saturday, for example. Yeah, as I said, there are some people who wake up to Saturday because they work 8 hours, so they are supposed to work a minimum of a maximum of 48 hours. So it's still 6 times 8 is 48. So they are waking up to Saturday, but that's no more working hours. Or maybe they are working from Monday to Friday, that's no more working hours. Yeah, regardless whether you're working from Sunday, whatever. I already discussed that, like the saloons and all other people. But what we need to know, that's normal, ordinary overtime. So you are paid 1.5 or 1.5 times the number of. So you are paid 1.5 times the number of hours that you have worked. So if you have worked, for example, 1 hour, it will be regarded as 1.5 hours. If you have worked for 2 hours, that would be regarded as 3 hours. Yeah, so when they are calculating, they will be basing on that one. And for day off overtime, yeah, a day which you are supposed to be off, like maybe if you are working from Monday to Friday, so it means Saturday and Sunday is a day off for you. Those are day offs. So it means it's supposed to be calculated as double. Yeah, so that's what also is it's times 2. So it's times 2. If we work 2 hours, it means you have worked for 4 hours. If it is 4 hours, that means in terms of calculation of overtime, it will be like 8 hours. So that's what you need to appreciate. And when it comes to the holiday overtime, this is now on a holiday. It could be a public holiday. Yeah, in Malawi, we do have public holidays like the 6th of July, the Eid al-Fitr, amongst other days which are on a holiday. So whenever there is a holiday, like you have worked on 25 December, yeah, or on the Boxing Day, which is the 26th December, it implies that it's a holiday overtime, regardless whether that day it's on a Monday or it's on a Friday, or even a holiday that has been declared by the government at any point. That is a public holiday. So these are public holidays which have been declared by the government as a public holiday. So you're also supposed to pay to get double. So it's similar to the day off overtime. The only difference, this other thing happened on a day off, this other thing happened on a public holiday. So that's what you need to appreciate. And we know a public holiday cannot be on a day off or on a weekend. Yeah, that's what it was. On a weekend is already a day off. So a public holiday is treated separately. That's why public holiday is always treated differently. And what we need to appreciate is that this is sometimes paid together with the payroll, sometimes it's paid outside the payroll. It depends on what you want and what's the best procedure, but most employers will pay together with the payroll. So you add it to the basic to say how much is the overtime. So you add it to the basic to say maybe how much has accumulated as overtime. So in terms of the calculation, I think we all know that within a month, employees are supposed to work for 22 working days, because normally what we need to know is that if we are talking about an employee to work for 8 hours a day and 48 hours within a week, so it means in a week there are about normally there are about 4 weeks. Yeah, so for someone who is working from Monday to Friday, it means there are about 80 days which are supposed to be off days, which are like 4 weekends, so they're coming to 80 days. So that's why the average every month has got about 30 days. So that's why we say an employee there are about 22 working days in a month. But if you are working on up to Saturday, for example, it's no longer the 22 working days, but you base on the 26 working days. So when you're calculating overtime, you'll be basing on the 26 days. If someone is working up to Saturday, it implies that because he's working for 6 days, so the 6 days within the month, it means he will be having 4 days of resting. So 4 days minus 30, that's coming to 26 days. So that's what is very, very important for us to appreciate, to say, for the sake of calculating the overtime. So for example, someone has worked for, has got about 6 hours overtime. So you say 6 hours, yeah. You need to first to find out the daily wage, for example, hourly wage. So the hourly wage, you say 22 divided by basic pay, then you get the daily wage. Yeah, the number of days of work in a month divided by the basic wage, you find the daily wage. From the daily wage, you divide by 8 to find the hourly wage. From the hourly wage is what we're going to multiply. If the overtime is in 8 days, and these are to do 8 hours, these are to do with maybe they are on a holiday, for example, or on a day off overtime, then you should multiply by 2, that's 16. So it means the hourly wage which you have gotten, you are going to multiply by the 16. So to arrive at the overtime that is supposed to be paid. So this is some of the things that we should be able to appreciate, and this is added to the basic pay, and the normal taxes will apply and will be deducted even when you're paying outside the payroll, but the normal taxes have also to apply. So this is one of the things that we need to appreciate within the overtime. When you're getting overtime, it's very, very important for us to appreciate these things, and we should be able to be mindful of the number of working hours, and that's what is very, very important. Yeah, so we also know there are certain organizations which should put some levels to say, no, someone beyond this grade cannot attain overtime, someone below this grade are supposed to get overtime. What we need to appreciate is the Employment Act doesn't specify categories of employees who are supposed to get overtime, but what we should be appreciating is to say the Employment Act applies to all employees regardless of grade or whatever. So the overtime applies to each and every employee within an organization. But there is a reason why organizations would say this kind of employees cannot claim overtime, because from a certain level, supervisory level, going above, these are positions which they can determine how they should work. They are not supposed to be told how to work, but they are supposed to now delegate. So the ones to be delegated are the ones to get the overtime. So you tell someone to say, I want you to come over weekend, but the supervisor should be able to know on his or her own to say, I have to come on a weekend. You can be a stores supervisor, for example. Yeah, regardless, your position is lower, but if you're a supervisor, I don't think you ask the director of finance has to ask you to come over a weekend, but you're able to know, you will be responsible enough for yourself because you're accountable. You're a transport manager, for example. You're accountable to say no, but you can ask the driver to come, and or the mechanic. You can ask the mechanic, the driver to come and work overtime, but yourself, you should be able to be responsible enough to just to come to work and be able to do the work, because there's some things that have to be done, because even the director of finance might not know why you should come over weekend. Yeah, but yourself, you can be able to delegate, ask the drivers to come over the weekend, because there's something that has to be done. So this is why the most terms and conditions of service of organizations would say employees who are above this grade are not supposed to claim overtime. It's because their positions are supervisory in nature and they cannot be called by someone to do the work. The CEO, you're going to expect the CEO, for example, to say, because some positions, you are like working 24 hours a day. Yeah, you're working daily, 24 hours a day. Yeah, you can wake up at 3 p.m. You can wake up at 3 a.m., start working. You can knock off, but you still be waking up to, say, 1 a.m. Yeah, so that's why these people are not supposed to get overtime. Yeah, but it's still a debate to say whether that kind of section could have been done in a way, or maybe if there will be amendments in future, we should be able to amend in a way that maybe supervisory positions are not entitled to overtime, because this is one of the challenges that are there, that also a lot of organizations tend to complain, or a lot of employees tend to complain, to say, no, I'm a supervisor, but I'm an employer. My boss can tell me sometimes to do some other things, which obviously I have to stay behind, or maybe I'll be doing together with the employees. For example, the data entry, I'm a data supervisor. There's no way these people can do on their own, but I have to come and supervise them, and I've been forced to do that, but I'm a supervisor, and you are saying that I cannot be able to get overtime, and let's say these other people can be able to get overtime. Yeah, so this is some of the things that we should also be appreciative and be able to see, to say working overtime, and also what are the normal working hours, which each and every organization has to appreciate. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Thank you so much, and be able to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also be able to tell other people about this YouTube channel. In this YouTube channel, we share a lot of information pertaining to HRM, pertaining to procurement, pertaining to sales and marketing, pertaining to change management things, administration, transport, stores, management, a number of things, general interest things, yeah, just to motivate each other in one way or another. Yeah, so I want you just to be able to always subscribe to this channel and be able to make it your home when it comes to learning a few things. I'll be also waiting for your comments and even what other areas which you feel maybe you can also be able to share in one way or another. Yeah, you can be able to find me at the ccg ccg at changeconsult.org, ccg at changeconsult.org. That's my email for the film that I learned. Yeah, so we are a consultancy film. We provide different services in terms of trainings, in terms of team buildings. We do a lot of research. We do development of policies. We do strategic plans development. We do a number of things, training in finance, in customer care, in marketing, in HR, in administration, in stores management, in procurement, in operations, HIV/AIDS, among gender, so many areas that we do. We've got a team of experts in different areas who can be able to train you in different areas, and also whether to develop policies in different areas or to develop strategies, end of year projects, when we able to do some reviews and all that. We have functional reviews. We're able to do all those salary structuring. We're able to do all those things because it's a team of consultants. That's why we create Change Consult Group. We can be able to provide such kind of service to you. Thank you so much. I hope you'll be able to follow up the next videos. Thank you.